You're listening to Heritage Radio Network.
From kitchen chaos to well-oiled machines, get ready for newfangled technology and old-school know-how. Stories and a good bit of fun. I'm Simon, and this is Culinary Mechanic. Tell me what's going on in your world. How are things? Like, what are the challenges? Tell me what's great. I'd love to just kind of get some groundwork. Like, what's going on?
Well, I've been the corporate chef of a great brand as SA Hospitality Group in New York, and not just New York. Now even Colorado, Europe, and Florida for 8 years, and it was a really impressive and great experience that I had. And in these 8 years, I always remember how I started in this position of corporate chef, where I was fresh and young, and so you fell into your old habits of being a chef and being an old school chef. My background of kitchen and of hospitality is all in the fine dining and the Michelin in Europe. So I had the training of the old school European way, and I actually still appreciate the training that I received back in the days, because I felt that it was the right training for that time. Still, if you ask me now, and it happened many times that chefs are asking me, "Oh, how do you treat in this way? What do you think about no call, no show? What do you think about this kind of stuff?" And the reaction of them is not always, but most of the time is like, yeah, they should find another job. And I'm like, no, you don't do that anymore. It's not that. We need to understand what is going on in their life, and that's the beauty of it. We work with people, and our job is one of the few jobs that still are made by human being, and I hope it will be like that for so long. So we have to deal as leader in this with emotion, with problems, life changing problem that every one of us is having here and there. So that's a beautiful thing, and we can make an impact. Not just on guest experience, not just making a dish that is gonna blow the mind of a guest, but it's the people, it's the staff that we work with, and they work with us. So, and not for.
Yeah, I tell you, I keep the phrase that keeps coming back everywhere I go. I was at a conference a year ago, and then I was having some conversations, and it just keeps coming back, and it's meet them where they are. I definitely, I grew up in the restaurants of some really not fancy restaurants, right? From New Mexico to Southern California to Massachusetts and Florida. And I used cooking as a way to propel me to go anywhere I wanted, right? The good news is I had some great teachers along the way. I found myself in California working for some very, very wonderful restaurateurs and some companies. And it's so fascinating to me as I talk to chefs, very much like yourself, but sometimes it's just in a direct message, a DM on LinkedIn or Instagram, where people are like, "Oh, these kids, they don't understand." And I realized that I want to know if this is the same for you. When I was a kid, the old guys, right? The guys in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, they used to tell me what a little whiner I was, because I wanted, what I thought were basics. And I thought every generation tells the one after it how weak they are, right?
And not just in our business. That's it. That's easy.
No,
that is in life. I mean, high school is the same thing. So and it's okay that to happen. I mean, the point there is no, and I'm sorry if I interrupt you.
It's okay. It's okay.
Is the point there is this kind of thing is gonna happen, and maybe it has to happen because it's part of how we grow up and how we need to grow up. The thing that has to change is just the stopping the conversation on these kids that don't understand. Well, world changed a lot, thank God, and is gonna keep changing and changing. And most of the time, I mean, I see myself in cooking in not in the cooking side, but in the leader side, the leadership side, how I manage my team before and how I manage myself as well. Before, back in the days, I was working so many hours, which I'm still doing it, but now I know when I have to stop and how to stop, which is during a day you take a walk, you just disconnect for 30 minutes, and
Andrea, I need to stop you for 1 second. I'm sorry. My dog is freaking out. Let me let him out. Come on, come on. That's what editing is for.
How old is he?
14.
Oh,
We're almost
wow.
14. Both there are two. And one of them has gotten calmer, while the other one is, I don't know, he's on pain medications of all kinds. So all of a sudden he's very whiny and jumpy, right? He's half pug, half chihuahua.
Oh, wow.
So he's very spring loaded. Anyway, I apologize.
No, don't worry.
It's just one of those things. It's like I gotta put him out, and there'll probably be another edit towards the end. But let's see, where are we here? 9:12. Okay.
But yes, as I was saying, is the point is how we react and how we change ourselves going forward. I mean, back in the days when we were kids, we were like pushing hard every day, more and more, not feeling pain, not feeling, and even when we were feeling pain or being tired, we were like, okay, no, we need to show up, we need to show off, and we need to show that we can do it. And now we are like, and now we change, and now we are like, yeah, I can do it, but I have people, and I know I can trust people to do for me, because I cannot do anymore, because I need to relax, I need to breathe and stuff like that. And it's super important. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
the point of they are kids, these kids that don't understand anything can change in, yes, these kids, they need to learn a lot, which is okay,
right.
which is part of life. So
Yeah. This is a conversation I was having yesterday, and it just makes my head kind of tingle a little bit. And it's not only do we have to accept that there is a different way, but we have to adapt. We have to adapt the way we teach,
yeah, definitely.
right? Um, it's this idea that like everything has to queue up, or everything has to be done from the perspective of the older, but that's not necessarily the truth anymore, right? Like I think that I talked to a chef about 6 months ago, and he goes, I just can't. And I said, all those complaints that they make about the way that things are going and the way things are, they're not wrong, right? The funny thing for me is, if you really start to dig into these computers in front of us and really dig down deep under Google and ChatGPT, you can find the research. The research
Yeah,
says that human decision making goes down. Your capacity to make decisions goes down after 7 hours, right?
it's true.
Right. So like I start to tell people, okay, plan how you spend that time, right? You know, and if you can decrease the intensity at the beginning, you know, I tell people go in and like go into your work and work on the little tiny things. Check your email so you're not there's no stress. There's just a little less, and then give yourself that 7 hours of intensity where you need it, and then find a way to like not be doing something big and like it kills me the people that do their orders at the end of their day. I'm like, what are you doing?
And I never understood that thing. It freaks me out every time. It's tough. And when I mean, with them, I was managing 12 location around the US market. And I had few chefs that they were used to do that. So I remember a few nights I was there with them. I was like, "Do you please the order for tomorrow? I wanna see one thing." They were like, "No, I'm gonna place a leader tonight." I was like, "What?" And seriously, I was shaking for them because I was like, "How can you be focused after a service? No matter how many people, how many cover count you're gonna do it, but how can you be focused?" I mean, for me, and I love being in restaurant. My wife, most of the time, she tell me that I'm also spending too much time in restaurant, but because I love restaurant, so she understood that, and I'm spending time in a restaurant in a different way of just being there and focusing on everything is just the way that I feel the restaurant that is different for me, and I know what was going on in the end of the night when you are like. Oh, I'm done. Great job, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow. And you have nothing to do, just change your clothes and leave, which
Yeah.
is the good thing. And then the other thing, yes, is the focus side that is super important. I remember we had one time at some point, we arrived to 30 restaurant in total for the company. So we were like, okay, we need to stretch her out and start to do a daily catch up with each chef and sous chef. So we were doing this meeting, 30 minutes meeting, 4 days a week, Tuesday to Friday usually was. And Friday usually at some point I was like in the morning, guys, it's canceled for today. Don't worry, have a great service. I'll see you later. Because I know how Friday night, Friday afternoon, it becomes, and then in New York especially, but everywhere in the world, it becomes a little bit crazy, and you don't want to spend time as a chef, you don't want to spend time in a meeting, because that 30 minutes, if you can spare that 30 minutes, you want to spend outside a little bit, smoking a cigarette if you're smoking, drinking water, just calling your fiance, or just breathing. So
Yeah.
it's very important. And that meeting in the beginning was so harsh for everyone. And I was like, in the beginning, I was like, why, guys, you don't want to understand this is important and stuff like that. And then at some point, I start to be in location at that time, because usually for the meeting, I was in my office, and I was like, no, I'm doing this wrong. It's me that is doing this wrong. So I start to do location per location, taking the chef with me in the office, in the restaurant, or in the dining room. And I was like, okay, let's do this meeting. And then I figure out, fuck, guys, I sorry for the swearing. I
Please. It's okay.
I choose the wrong time, first thing. And second of all, I didn't ask you when you want to do this meeting. And that's why you are pissed off with me and you are frustrated a little bit with that. So at some point, we did that meeting. I was like, okay, guys, you choose the day, you choose the time, you choose what you want to talk about. I'm going to have my things to say in that meeting. It's going to be just a few things of a reminder of an inventory. It was basically just a meeting to be all together when we were growing, because in the end of the day, you start to spend so much time in the newest location, and the oldest one that they work very well. The chef is super aware. Yeah, you talk with him with the phone, but the human contact is always something. Even for 5 minutes a day, is something that changes everything.
Absolutely. You know, I used to hate meetings. I really did as a sous chef and a chef. And very similar to you, I had that time where it was like, okay, the company said you need to start to do these meetings. And it took me a few years, and once I got there, I realized, we also utilize this system. What is the book? The book is Traction, right? And it's all about this on this like an operating system, the entrepreneurial operating system, and it talks about all the things that you need for the meeting. And I realized, huh, just exactly what you said. It's like we need to start on time, we need to end on time, and then there starts to become some respect, right?
Yeah.
Because we started to time the meetings. And I would tell them, I was like, so I'm running around from across 7 units, sometimes just four. And I said, your time is valuable, but what we can do in these meetings is really keep you on track and moving forward. There's extreme value in it, right? And I used to tell them, I'm like, you need to tell me every time the 2 or 3 things that are not working for you.
Even if is a stupid thing, like, oh, the fridge today is not in temperature. Even if you already reported as a chef and you tell me, I know that I can help you, and I know that we know that you as a chef that is responsible directly for that, you're gonna feel valued and you're gonna feel respected, and even if you have some stress to to free up, you have the time there, and it's super super important, because in the end of the day, one of the things that I always said to chef, and I have a perfect example for that, talking about the bad way to do this job, which I just finished a consulting that it was I cannot say name, I cannot pronounce anything, but I can say some stuff that I saw there. But one of the things that I was saying to my chef was like, use every time that you have with me, except the time that I need to speak with you about some stuff, but use that time to just free yourself up. So if a manager answer you in a bad way, if you have a problem with the person, if you have a problem with the dish, if you have a problem with the maintenance, if you have a problem with everything around the restaurant business, around your restaurant, just use me to do that, and then I'll take care of the problem, or I can help you in figure out or looking at the problem in a different way. And that's, for me, that is again, I love cooking. I have a strong passion for cooking. I mean, I'm here doing R&D for 2 weeks in Italy. I came, I'm in my parents' house now, and I came here. And the first thing that I didn't have any events, just R&D. So I didn't even I didn't need to bring my knife set and stuff like that. The first thing that I put in my luggage was was my knife roll. And my parents arrived at home and were like, "Why you brought your knife roll? You're gonna be here a few days." I was like, "Don't worry, we're gonna cook." And now tonight, tomorrow, I'm gonna cook a lot with them. So that's the beauty of it. But in the end, the first thing as a leader, beside cooking, which that is already a base that you need to have, otherwise you cannot be in that position. And that's the mistake that most of the people make, which is, oh yeah, but when I saw conversation, owner to culinary director and corporate chef, they were like, yeah, but I want to see you back in the line. And I was like, wait a second, you are asking your culinary director, which you are paying a lot of money also, to manage the department, so your restaurant and stuff like that. And this was one of my last consulting, which was another company. And I was like, you are paying, first of all, as business, you are paying a person to do a job, and you want him to do another job. So business side, you're already wrong. Second of all, you are demeaning this person because you are not saying that is good on cooking side, which it should be already good. And third, and that side is already done. So once you arrive in those positions, you don't forget about cooking. You cook a lot, and you can cook a lot, but still you have to cook with your teams, and that's the beauty of it. I remember I did all the tasting were on my side. I'm a little bit crazy and OCD in this kind of stuff. So all label, all stuff super organized, all the core container at the level that we need for the recipe, for the test, and stuff like that. And but the point of me was like we were planning the menus of the photo shooting and stuff like that, and we were doing location. So I was taking the chef of the location. I was like, okay, free yourself up from service and stuff like that, because for 2 days we're gonna be shoulder by shoulder doing everything, you and I together. And that's a beauty. That's a beautiful thing that we were involved in the pasta guy or the grill guy or the garmanger guy. But that's the beauty of it, because you create a culture, and that's the most important thing that in especially in a business like a restaurant business, where again we are working between human beings and we have the responsibility to feed other human beings. So it's super important, because we need to feel the responsibility and to feel the serious of this act that we are making, because we are giving people food that they're going to ingest. So the food has to be perfect, and not just in taste, even in quality. We need to take care of that. And most of the time, recently especially, I see so much careless about this kind of stuff, and I'm a little bit worried about this. And but then I understood why, because most of the people, they don't have the base to do this kind of quality control, and that's a shame, and that's a big problem.
Yeah, I think that for me, looking out as a leader and somebody who's trying to help leaders get better, the one word I can say to them all day long is teach. Teach more, right? As the people that are a little bit older, we have to go back. Like I find myself, like, even as a consultant and as an advisor to chefs, I find myself like pulling the chef aside and going, "Hey, try this, try that." And he's like, "Well, you weren't hired to help me with the food." I'm like, "I know, but I tasted it, and trust me, you need to work on that." Uh, but I think that, like, the level of teaching or the level of talent, right? I think you would agree. It's a little bit more like we talk about the talent pool, right? We talk about it's just shallower, because so many of the cooks are tired of the grind, and they're tired of that, and they've gotten out, right? Out here in the West Coast in Seattle, I can count about 15 or 20 cooks that are good cooks. They've been around, they've worked in good restaurants. They work for Amazon now. They drive, they do other things, because it stops being fun, for them. And so there are so many positions open, and everywhere I talk, every chef I talk to, I say, "What's your challenge?" And the first word out of their mouth is staffing. But I think that nowadays it is our job to teach, but also, how do I say this? I want people to teach what they know, but also teach teach how they want to be teaching is the only way to say it, right? Like,
Yeah, it's true, definitely.
because we can't do the old-fashioned way of just fear and yelling. Let's pause for a second. If you're serious about building a kitchen that leads from the top, runs on systems, and actually feels good to work in, make sure you're following Culinary Mechanic. This show is all about helping you lead better, scale smarter, and stop white-knuckling your business. And if you're ready to dig in deeper, you'll find a link in the show notes to connect with me directly. I don't know where I saw it, but I saw a guy on my little phone in the social media talking about how close to 100 years ago, the pressures started to increase in restaurants, and over the last, each decade gets more and more and more, and at some point they just the leaders that are chefs, they decided that they had to get the results, and they didn't know how to do it, so they just did it the only way they knew how, which was to scream and to yell. But now we can't do that. But now the problem is that they don't have the tool, the one major tool that has fed us for 100 years. So now we're just not, people now, they're just trying to do it themselves. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure that you see that. You see the chefs just trying to grind it out instead of understanding what it is to communicate effectively, what it is to delegate, and those words are hard. So I tell people, I'm like, just teach more, and then ask people to come with you.
The problem of being able to teach is that you need to have zero ego. And that's the other problem that I see. One of the last consulting that I did, they had already a corporate executive chef that wasn't ready to that position, honestly. And in many ways, managing food from the COGS side, which I don't want to talk about. And the thing that worried me a lot, and it was more scared to me, was the communication side. And it was like, why you are not communicating right? Why you have this attitude? Why you? And then I understood. I saw how this person was interested in media. I was interested in having as the face on a post, the thing like that. I was like, in the end of the day, one day this world is going to end. So in the end of the day, you're going to arrive at some point where the media doesn't interest you anymore, is not interested in you anymore, because it's going to be another one of you, other three of you, and that's the point. I mean, and I felt that thing of the ego, because coming from a Michelin culture, you are like your ego is super high, especially when you are young, because your goal is okay, I want to have the Michelin star on my heart, which now I get it. I'm not interested anymore. I never get the Michelin star. I work for Michelin star, but honestly, it's not my goal anymore. I love to cook. I love to feed people. I love to treat people well and to work with people and to create and build up a culture and hospitality. So that's my goal. But when I was talking to this person, I was like, what makes you, why you are frustrated, why you are so insecure about this, about delegating? And the answer was so unclear. Oh, because the ownership needs me to do this kind of stuff. Then I start to look better at the big picture, and I was like, okay, you call me to build up, to help you build up the culinary department on this side, and to grow this position, this person in this position, to make this person very very good at this job, and to help you grow the business itself and the company, because you want to open more and more, and you want to become much more a corporate. You already have 6 restaurants, and now you want to go at 9. So this is the right time to do this kind of stuff. You are even a little bit late. And then I started to realize we were doing meetings, and the meetings were 1 hour meeting. It was 1 hour and 45 talking about nothing. And I was like, I sat down in 3-4 meetings of the operation meetings every week. Was at some point, one of the last meetings that I did, I was like, okay, we're almost done with my consulting with you, with my period. I'm not interested in renewing the consulting with you guys. And but I don't want to leave you like that. So let's finish. I still have a couple of 3 weeks I had. I was like, okay. I was like, let's talk about financial. And I started to talk about financial. I started to talk about, and not just the point. Most of the meeting that I assist in many of my career is like, oh, this restaurant is making $10,000 less than last year, week per week, this week versus last year week. Yeah, the weather. And when I heard this answer, especially from the owner, no, not from the CFO, because the CFO, he gives you the number. Then it's you operational that you have to say something. Then the director of operations say that, the corporate chef, the culinary director say that, and I'm like, guys, cannot be just the weather, especially in a city like New York, cannot be the weather. So please don't say that. Let's analyze. Then, of course, last Tuesday there was a big storm. Of course, no one was around. Of course, but we are talking about 1 day in 1 week, so it cannot ruin your week in this way. And then I was like, okay, maybe you are. We start to talk, and I was like, all right, so you are losing 10K this week versus last year, versus the same week last year. Like maybe it's super hot right now and the menu is super wintry and we are in June. I was like, do you understand that this menu cannot work in this kind of environment? Last year, same week, was cold. That's how you have to look at weather, not the day that is raining. And talking about this kind of stuff, I saw there was a blind blind concept about that, empty screening, and I was like, okay, maybe you are not ready to expand your company. So just think about that, because in the end of the day, uh, the other thing that I don't like is that I don't like is when I see place with a lot of potential, zero culture, and zero understanding of how to make a culture. And that's where then we all work in place like that. We all had to do a place like that when we were kids, even when we are older now. A few times it happened. And the thing that happened is that people are leaving from this kind of company. They don't want to work like that. They prefer to go to work at Amazon, UPS, Walgreens, or something like that. And why? Because it's stress-free. Because most of the people arrive at some point and they're like, this is just a job. And no matter how much passion I have, I don't want to treat it like shit. I don't want to treat it like that. I don't want to ruin my life and not being able to live my life with my friends, my wife. So to make this sacrifice, I need to feel respected, to follow my dream and to follow my goal. And that's what happened with me. But I remember I did the hospitality school here in Italy when I was a kid, and in my classroom in the last year we were 24 people. Just 4 of us kept doing this job. And I was talking to one of those, which became also a strong journalist here in Italy. Last year I was with him having a coffee in the morning, and it was like he was telling me about this thing, and I was like, I'm so happy for you that you kept doing that one, and I know the stress and whatever you did, and I follow you, and we were in touch and stuff like that. I was like, but why you didn't kept going? I mean, I knew that you love journalism and stuff like that. It was like, honestly, I love it, but it was my second choice because I arrived to work in a place after school and I felt so disrespected that I felt I was feeling sick every day. And when I heard that, I was like, we started this conversation. I was like, see, that's the problem that we had in this business.
Yes.
And that's the biggest problem. We are always talking, no one wants to do this job. We are always putting as chef, oh, you are a chef, you know how pain it is. No, guys, that's it. Let's not the bear. It's fucking shame, because they are picturing the first season. I love that first season because at some point it was like recreating our world, our old school world, and it was true, it was real, it was passion, and I felt
wait, it was traumatic too. Don't forget traumatic. Okay, go.
But because in the end of it, and that's what was real, because in the end of the day, we had not at the level, because the level, it's like, guys, you need a team of therapists after what he experienced as a chef. I mean, I never worked with a chef piece of shit that he was telling me this kind of stuff, because I was also a piece of shit as well when I was a kid. So at some point I was drawing a line. I mean, I'm not I know when I have to stop, and I know when to stop you as a chef to be disrespectful to me. But the point is, now they are still picturing this kind of stuff. I mean, the last season, I'm watching it because I want to see, because I know how the impact that is having on the new generation of a chef, and is super weird and not good, because we arrive at the last episode where he wants to leave the restaurant to deal with this problem because he knows that is the problem, which is the most bullshit thing to do, and still ego.
Yeah.
Because your life depend on your job. Yes, somehow, yes. But in the same way, we are all working in restaurant business. We are all doing a lot of hours, a lot of days. You can draw the line at 5, then you're gonna have to work, especially as for leader. You're gonna answer to the phone when you're on your day off. It's not a problem, but you are doing it in another way, which is much more. You are giving support, and it's part of your of your soul as well. But that kind of stuff of saying, "Oh, I'm gonna leave because I have to deal with my things because I'm the problem," it's like admitting that the restaurant business is just or you're in or you're out, which is the strongest bullshit I ever heard. And then you see the young chef that they believe that too. And I have tattoos, and now with the word, I'm like, with all the younger generation that they have knife and stuff like that. I just have this one with a fork, knife, and spoon, and it's always covered with my, my shirt and stuff like that. But it's like they believe that having a knife tattoo, it makes you a chef. They believe that screaming and being that way, it makes you a chef. No, guys, it's a lot of other things. I mean, I work with many strong executive chef and many culinary director that they know how to do it, what to do, and when do it, and when to do it. And it's the beauty of it is that you learn from them without even feeling that they are teaching you.
Right. Yeah, it's amazing what can happen when you get somebody who understands how to communicate and how to be a leader. For me, I always get into this conversation of, oh, we have to learn the food, learn the food, learn the food. But what happened to, like, not just it's about how we communicate and how we teach that really speaks to be how we groom the leaders of tomorrow. Because right now we're in there's a problem, right? Like I fear for the quality of restaurants, and I fear for there's always going to be the high echelon. There's always going to be those top, right? And they'll do what they do, and people will continue. But I think, especially in the United States, there's this level of restaurant that is one or two rungs below that.
Yeah.
And people can't staff. They can't find chefs for them. They can't find sous chefs. Sous chefs started to become an endangered species about 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's true.
Because the ones that were good became chefs.
Yeah.
But so many people, and I experienced this in my company that I was working for, so many of my cooks, I would go to them and say, "You are amazing. Like, let me work with you and we'll get you to be a sous chef." And they would look at me and go, "No,
I want to be a
absolutely
chef.
not." No, they didn't want it. They didn't want the responsibility. It's too stressful. It's too many hours. They said, "No, I love coming to work and getting to cook, and I get to be with my friends and work hard. But at the end of the day, I want to go home, and you guys don't go home." And that's when I realized there was a divide, and that was 2016, and everything has gotten worse since then, right? I talk to recruiters probably 2-3 times a month right now just to see kind of what's out there, what's going on. And I will tell you, like, you and I are both consultants, and I think that the biggest thing that we can do, like, if you want a different market to go into developing chefs, because that's where I'm at. And I'm not even working on their food or even in their operation. I'm literally helping them to understand, like, how to communicate, how to put on a good meeting, how to do a pre-shift meeting that is 2 minutes and nothing longer, and like these little things that I feel like they should be there, but they're not taught. They're not, and so much of it. Here's the other part. All you mentioned Michelin. Well, I'm old enough that in the United States, when I was really in the thick of it, there was no Michelin, right? It was, for us, it was James Beard and it was the Zagat Guide. right? And now you have the Michelin stars in the United States, and everybody's going crazy for that, and that's great. But it's all about like you said, the media, the accolades. And I feel like a lot of those chefs that are pushing for that, they're forgetting to bring the team along with them. You know?
Oh, well, I have to say one thing. Where I saw more change in this kind of stuff for the team is much more in the Michelin, but because they can they can work in a different way, and that's the setup. Michelin we are talking about, especially if you're going to the 2 or 3 Michelin star. I saw a few of the 3 Michelin star in New York, and how they work, and the team, how he react and how he's acting during the day, and it's super clear and nice. I saw service done not from the dining room, but inside the kitchen as well, and I was like, wow, that's the beauty of it. There is the silence, but it's not a fear silence, a silence made of fear. It's a silence made of respect and love, and people that they are there because they want to be there, and because they want to learn, and they want to teach, and they are ready for it. So the what I see in New York right now is that the problem that we are having in New York is much more in the fine dining that is not Michelin or no New York Times, or the high medium level, which I always work in from the high level. Usually even San Ambroeus was a high level, if casual high level. Casual fine dining was safe, and it's that I remember the thing of the sous chef that I was like, I mean, at some point I arrived that I couldn't grow up, I couldn't build up a new sous chef, so I needed to start to look outside. And one of the things that I was doing most of the time is at some point when we decided to open much more place, we had 2 brands, and I was in charge of the San Ambroeus side, and we had another brand which was Felice plus another one. And for the Felice, we needed another corporate chef, and one of my sous chef, one of my oldest sous chef that he was with me at the Cirque as well, and then he came with me at San Ambroeus, he became the corporate chef. When I leave the company, the corporate chef that I propose, it was another one of my sous chef that they were working with me for a few years. And so at some point, with to convince and to trick, if you want to say like that, even sous chef, even line cook to become sous chef, it was like, guys, did you see what Amir and Wilmer did? I mean, they arrive at that level and they start from that job.
Yeah.
And in that way, I was able to give that thing. But in the end of the day, it's not even. I don't like to use that as much, because in the end of the day, it's I believe that you need to have your goal. And if a line cook say like that to me, I'm like, okay, I'm not taking a no for an answer, but I'm like, okay, let's see, I'm gonna. And in the same time, the other thing is I start to give him much more responsibility in some stuff. So in some way, he became a sous chef. He doesn't know yet. And then I start to give him a little bit raise every quarter, and then by the end of the year, is usually him coming to me, chef, can I become I'm ready to become a sous chef, and I'm like, yeah, you are already a sous chef, so we just need to put the title on now.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And but yeah, that's the difficulty, and this became a problem because of people that they are not ready to be in a leadership position, because those people, they don't let grow their teams. They act like they are protecting them. We don't know from what, because they have a magic word in their mind. their beautiful mind, and they're protecting, which we know what they're protecting. They're protecting themselves because they know that they're not doing the right job. I work with a chef that he arrived to us as executive chef of a place that I know very well. So he was already hired by the company that I was consulting for. And they told me this thing. I was like, okay, I stay in silence. I went to my friend, which is another big group actually. I was like, chef, do you know him? Yeah, I know him. Okay. He said that he worked with you here as executive chef. I was like, no, it's not true. He was a kitchen manager. And when I saw that, I was like, I came back to the company. I was like, guys, you need to screen better. You need to do a real screen when you do this kind of stuff. Hiring process is super important. The other thing that happened is the hiring process. The hiring process, it became so full of things. I mean, I did a few interviews last year at some point for a few projects that they called me up for. And the crazy part is that they call you and then they let you do, they're interested in you and then they let you do 4 or 5 talk, where at some point you are repeating yourself. And you're like, guys, before COVID, it wasn't like that. Before COVID, it was one meeting with the people that they need to make a decision in the company, do the meeting, and then the person in charge of payroll, he was contacting you. Your supervisor was calling you. I was like, okay, this is the price. Is okay for you? And then you start with a counter offer, and it was done. Now you are in this interview, and then one of the things that I saw, it's a lack, and this is the problem of leadership, and not just as a chef, but in any department of a restaurant company. Right now, we have a lack of leadership, lack of knowledge. And you talk with the head of the HR, maybe, or the HR that is not even the head, and she doesn't know the answer that you are asking her, or she doesn't know yet how the process will go. Then you talk with the second step is with the supervisor. Then the supervisor starts to talk to you, and then it will like, yeah, I'm gonna tell you a few other things, and then you have to talk with the owner. And it's like you arrive at, most of the time when I feel like that, arrive at the third one. I'm like, look, are you interested or not? Because I am, otherwise I wouldn't be here. But I want to make sure, because in the meantime, you are letting me stay there talking to you, and it's 1 month already. And maybe I said no to other things, or I'm focusing on this one. I still have to work for that. So it's like even that one becomes a problem, because, and that's what I see, because in the end of the day, the beauty thing of the United States of America, and I'm in love with the country. I'm in love with New York. Even if I'm in a moment where I'm like, I want to leave New York, but then I know deep down that it's not going to happen. Always going to happen, but I know that it's going to be hard for me to make the decision, even if I had amazing offer. And the point is that one. I mean, think about a new guy, a sous chef that he wants to change the company and wants to do in somehow like that. In the end of the day, you have to do 4 or 5 interviews, which you don't know anything, and then you are scared, because most of the time, what I see, I receive many calls from recruiter that they are asking me about people that they are interviewing, that they know they work with me. They worked with me in the past, and I'm like, okay. And then I called the guy. I'm like, did you give him my phone number? Because maybe I'm the reference number for few of those. But when I receive and I don't know I'm a reference number, the first thing that I do, as a friend especially, it's like, look, do you know about this? Oh, you are interviewing for that. Like, how do you know? They called me up. I was like, but I didn't even give you your number. And it's weird, because in the end of the day, even recruiters need to understand that the rumors starts like that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. It's a crazy world out there, Andrea.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for coming in and playing. It's a wonderful conversation. It's wonderful to hear a different to hear other people talk about it, you know. I look forward to what things can be in the industry. But it scares me on a regular basis. Like we have to teach people how to take care of each other, right? The big one I say a lot is we need to have less me, and more we, you know. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure in the show notes that people can get a hold of you, and they can find you on. I think you and I connected on LinkedIn, so we'll make sure that that's in there. And I wish you a lot of luck. And it sounds like dinner's going to be pretty good tonight, with mom and dad and cooking with the family. I absolutely am envious. So for all you out there, we'll catch you next time. And Andrea, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate it. You've been listening to Culinary Mechanic. This show exists to help you lead with more clarity, build systems that actually work, and create a kitchen culture worth showing up for. If this episode helped you move even one step in that direction, do me a favor, leave a quick review. It helps more chefs and operators stop the chaos and start leading with intention.